Peace, chiefs, and deers. It's Bronzebird here with a video. Make sure before I begin that you like and subscribe. Thank you. And before we kick this off, I'm going to just play a little bit of music and, I'm going to give my what up those to all of y'all before we begin. You feel me? So, peep. What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Hey, yo, what up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Hey, yo, what up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Hey, yo, what up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Hey, yo, what up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Hey, yo, what up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Hey, yo, what up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? All right, y'all. Let's get busy. So today's show is going to be about, do I believe, my hypothesis, do I believe that this dating culture in society is starting to become more narcissistic and is starting to, take form into a place where more people are being more into themselves, literally, or just the fact of the matter that people of this society is starting to gear their selves into having another figure instead of having an actual human being that they're being in a relationship with. So today's topics of conversation will cover sologamy, dolls such as sex dolls and just regular dolls that people are using on a daily basis as their way of finding love. And there's certain clips or people you may know from videos that's been watched previously that illustrates exactly what I'm trying to bring today. This is my honest opinion about the whole entire thing. What it seems as if happens is that there is a good amount of people who fall in love with these dolls or engage themselves in sologamy relationships who are usually social rejects. Now, there's going to be one public figure that you may know of who seems to be obviously one of a very attractive woman in her 40s, have had a time to talk about the vegan life and being for self-love and self-preservation. I mean, the whole entire speech on talking about self-love and self-preservation is just something that's complete bullshit depending on who it is. And I'll tell you why. There's nothing wrong with self-love, but you're always supposed to love yourself before you love another person. So therefore, when people make this whole entire speech of talking about self-love, I can't understand that, because at the end of the day, of course, I'm going to love myself before I engage myself in loving another person or getting into another relationship. That's what self-care is about. That's what getting to know yourself is about, regardless of whatever age you are. It doesn't matter. Whether you're a teenager in your 20s, in your 30s, your 40s, 50s, whatever have you. So the self-love antic that comes into this, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it for the life of me, but there's people out there that believe that they should fall in love with themselves, which I don't understand how they do it, especially when it comes to the intimate moments. What is your form of self-love and intimacy? Masturbation? I don't understand people. So today we're going to go over this whole entire thing. Again, this might be a two-part series because I have something else that I want to put into play. I want to make an issue. Maybe I can find it, maybe I can't. But this is going to be going over sologamy, sex dolls, and also people who've actually gotten married to dolls and in relationships. So this just forms my hypothesis if the dating culture is becoming more narcissistic. So before we get into that, I'm going to set up my screen and I'm going to play me another song before we start talking that real ish over here. So peep again. Yo, shit, nigga. Yo, look, my style when the line you be ill. I'm getting head in the office like I'm Bill, buying shorty from Brazil, trying to find she ain't wanted in the first place. I never came second, yeah. It's talking crazy, but I never felt threatened. I'm a legend. The next top 5, no question. I'm beheading whoever you was defending. This can't nobody fuck with my pen. I know I'll be here back when I was 10. When Jay-Z was shagging retirement, I fired the blunt. Donald Trump, no apprentice. They love the way that I'm flowing tremendous. In fact, intact on my highest self, rocking on Ryan
belch, they couldn't hear what he heard. Couldn't feel how I felt. Your wife dealt me a crazy stack. I just wanna rap while they claim to bring the feeling back. I just got a knack for killing shit on the humble. Niggas made it to the top and they crumbled out, securing the bag. They never tumbled, yo.
So, all right, here we are. We're talking about sologamy, and this is something that's very interesting at the very moment that we're talking about here, because this is explaining the definition of what sologamy is, what exactly it is. And it's basically going to say it right here in this Wikipedia article. This is what I argue. This is what I believe. But, you know, to each his own. So check this out. Sologamy is marriage by a person to themselves. And I hope you guys was able to read this while the music was playing and just to get an idea of what is it that this conversation is going to be about. But going on, supporters of the practice argue that it affirms one's own value and leads to a happier life. Critics argue that it is a narcissistic practice which suggests low self-esteem. An alternative term is self-marriage, but this may also refer to a self-uniting marriage, which is a marriage without an officiant. It doesn't matter. They're going to talk about how they does it with ceremonies and all these different things, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make a difference to me. It is still a marriage to self. I don't understand sologamy. I don't understand what the point of it is. I mean, in a couple of videos that I'm going to show you today, it's like I have a tough time understanding what's going on, because usually what you're seeing with a lot of these couples or these people who have dolls or don't have dolls, they're marrying themselves, they're social rejects. Or if they've taken it upon themselves to be that extreme to want to go ahead and say that I'm going to get married to myself or I'm going to have a doll. My thing is, I couldn't do it. I cannot imagine myself even having the remote thought of having sex with a doll, let alone all these other things that take place inside of a self-marriage and sologamy. So we're going to change it to this. And if y'all know who I'm talking about, this is Maya. Y'all know who Maya is. I don't have to explain myself. Famous R&B singer from the 90s. You understand? The late 90s, early 2000s. And this is what it says right here. R&B singer Maya reveals she's in a sologamous relationship and has been happily married for 7 years to herself. And this is the weird thing about it, because I remember Maya. Maya used to do all these speeches online and used to talk about, oh, yeah, you know, I'm a vegan now and I can't imagine myself dating someone who eats meat and it's all this other stuff. So what was you talking? Was you, quote unquote, capping? What was it that you were saying? Because obviously, if you've been married to yourself for several years, you ain't even thinking about the next person you want to be dealing with, unless you're cheating on yourself. Unless you're cheating on yourself. And I'm going to read this article really quickly, and I'm going to get into the other videos today. But, you know, it says right here, Best of Me singer Maya has been notoriously private about her personal life throughout her decades-long career, which is why fans were so surprised when she posted a picture of herself in a wedding dress last February. And, you know, I'm not going to say anything. A couple of speculators have said that Maya was passed around in the industry and she's been known for sitting up there sleeping with mad random dudes in the industry. But I'm not surprised, because that's what usually happens in the industry. To get some type of stardom and try to get some type of notoriety industry behind closed doors, you're going to have to sleep with different people to get what you want. And they're going to be using you in order to get the stuff that they want out of you, which is sex, in exchange for the beats, the exposure, and all these different things. It's how it works in the industry. Fans were excited and happy for the singer and quickly began wondering who the lucky guy was. Well, it turns out from pictures were from a video of her for her single The Truth and not from an actual wedding day. Yeah, this is from 2020, y'all. Even though she didn't tie the knot that specific day, according to Maya, she's actually been married much, much longer, since 2013 to herself. Maya recently revealed in an interview with Claudia Jordan for her show Out Loud with Claudia Jordan on Fox Soul that she's been happily committed to herself for quite some time now. She chose to wed herself as a way to take ownership over her life. I did a music video where I married myself and the internet went crazy when a wedding photo was leaked first, and I just went along with it. because I actually did marry myself in real life at the end of 2013. Man, I tell you, man, I mean, it's just crazy. But you know, let's continue on. She continued. I didn't even say anything. I just said thank you. A lot of people kept asking me like, "Who's the lucky guy?" I said, "Well, it's not a guy at all. It's it was actually really fun. Some of the interpretations were out of this world, but things happened and things got misconstrued. But it's been a beautiful ride." Elsewhere in the interview, she talks about her music, her vegan lifestyle, and much more. All right, we don't need to get any more into these paragraphs. That's basically it. We really don't care. But, you know, even Maya took it upon herself. And, you know, a lot of these like self-righteous women or self-righteous dudes, the spiritual ones sit up there and talk about that self-love crap. And, you know, some of them do go to the extreme, but I've never really heard stories like this where, you know, they go to the extreme of saying, yo, I want to get married to myself and that's it. I ain't got no man, I ain't got no girl or this, that, and the third. I married myself. And again, I can't. I understand there's times in life where people decide to be by themselves. They decide to be by themselves. They decide to say, hey, right now I feel like being by myself. I don't feel like dating anybody. I don't feel like dealing with anybody. I need to fix myself. I need to be alone for a second, through emotional reasons as well, because they might have been scarred from previous relationships and all these different things. But brothers, men, sologamy is the most craziest things I've ever heard in my life. I recently just heard about it, but this is the stuff that's going on in this society. And I make this hypothesis because what will be the conversation a couple of years down the line as a lot of these mental things starts to become the normality of this society? Sologamy is weird. I don't care what nobody says. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. But a lot of these things that was previously under wraps is starting to become more acceptable in this society. And more so, you're starting to have more of these people who's finding love in different ways. Will I deny you for finding love the best way you know how? No, but at the same time, it is a very weird concept that I can't understand. You're supposed to love yourself at the end of the day, but you're not supposed to be in love with yourself. It is some type of narcissistic value if you engage in some type of form of sologamy. That's just how it is to me. I don't understand how that doesn't correlate to some type of narcissistic trait. So we got this right here. It's actually supposed to play the other video, but I guess I can play this. This video came out. This video actually went around on another page that I was watching, and you know this video right here was talking about the Kazakhstan bodybuilder. I never got the chance to look into it, but now I do. So I'm gonna just watch it. We're gonna watch it right here and see what we talking about. This man right here is a bodybuilder. He doesn't seem like a quote unquote social reject, but he married a doll, and that's his wife now. And it's going to be another video I'm going to touch in on that's going to give more clarity into my hypothesis. That's the end of the video. It's a real quick video, but my thing about it is, how does that work? You kiss, you smash. How does it work? Because if that's the factor, there is no response. And I think that a lot of these dudes that decide to get with a sex doll or marry a doll, they don't want the actual physicality of a woman. Now, they want the physical form of a woman, but they don't want what comes behind it. The personality, the idea that she might yell, or the fact of the matter, she might be going through her mood switches and mood changes and all this other stuff. There's components I can understand, but it doesn't mean that I agree with it. And I don't agree with it. But to each his own. You find who you love, but this is the reason why I'm saying the normality of it is what I have a problem with. Because, of course, it would be an underground culture. It'd be something that's just laid to rest with a couple of people. But you have an understanding, just like how I have an understanding through the artworks, not the artworks, but the works of liberalism, socialism, or other concepts that comes about using social rejects or using the ideas of things as taboo to become normal. And that is exactly what's going on. This is not normal. We don't know anything about sex dolls, and they have all these expensive projects that they put together in order for people to become in love and have all these options of marrying these dolls and all these different things. Now, we understand back in the days, that dudes used to get it on with plastic dolls and stick their phallus inside of the mouths of these dolls and different things. But we understood, like, even then we would look at the person sideways like, yo, what are you doing? But they've upped the game with these sex dolls and these dolls in general. The whole plastic that they're using and all these different things and make it seem like it's a real human being. And of course, there was this whole entire outright just conversation or videos that was coming out about these sex dolls having triple D or E or H size titties and a nice body frame and a fat ass and this, that, and the third that you could smash and all this other stuff. And these dudes was actually making videos of them having sex with these dolls. They were. They had no problem laughing about it and doing all these different things. And I'm just looking at them like, they can't even talk. You stick your phallus inside the thing, okay, but what happens from that? But I'll tell you this one thing. And I randomly found out about this video on Facebook because way back when I was on Facebook, Facebook had this weird ass video that had this animation of a sex robot that was having sex with a man, and it was flying a man all around the room and all these different things. It was an animation. And as much as it was just weird to watch, whether you want to call it hentai or don't want to call it hentai, it wasn't hentai, but it was a real animated thing. The point is, when you watch these futuristic films, these sci-fis and all these different things, will that be the reality of our world in the next 10 to 15 years? If so, low before that. You understand that they had iRobot in 2004 with Will Smith and a lot of these Arnold Schwarzenegger films and all these different things. These are things y'all got to think about. Will there become a complication in our society where they will build these sex robots so good that they really look like humans and they really will replace or try to replace the socialization between man and woman? And already you have it now because you have a robot by the name of Sophia that has a legal ID, have a legal passport. So this is the other video I'm going to play. I don't know if I'm going to play it for long, but I'm going to probably play the first 4 minutes and to get on to the other stuff. And, you know, you just check this out real quick. This is a girl right here that decided to marry her zombie doll. And, you know, it would be considered a quote unquote lesbian relationship. Not that I care about which type of sexual orientation it is, but I'm just making this a ploy for y'all to understand. This is what's going on. And this is starting to become legal. And of course, they make videos like this because they know the consensus of society does not agree with it, or they find it as a social taboo. Fair use.
That was such a special day. I really love you, and I really enjoyed marrying you, you know? I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you.
Fair use.
Hi, my name is Felicity Cadillac Rossi, and I'm married to my love, Kelly the zombie doll. When I was 10, I found Kelly on a creepycollection.com site, and I had to
get up out of here
to have her, and my dad said if I get good grades in school, he'll let me have her. And by the time I was 13, Kelly was mine. I chose a zombie doll because I love zombies. Her look may bother people, but she doesn't bother me. Just because she's a zombie doll doesn't mean she's evil. This is just how I chose her. I like and love zombies. I think they're cool.
Brothers, I'm sorry, but this is an alternative version to the Bride of Chucky or Chucky in general. I'm sorry, man. Like, I'd be scared shitless if I seen that girl walking around with that damn doll talking about she's married to that thing.
Doesn't mean that I'm attracted to dead people. It just means I love dolls, and I just happen to like the horror dolls. I like to go shopping with Kelly and buy outfits for her because it's fun and it actually helps me with my depression. I always wondered how she'd look.
Stop. That's one thing we have to touch on right there. there are certain people who are using different factions and using different outlets to cope with the mechanism that they're dealing with inside. Now that I start to understand, and when she just said that, now I start to understand exactly what's going on. But continue.
And a hat. Probably not too good. I have a lot of different clothes for her, and like it's just fun to just take care of her. It's nice. These are the type of clothes that I like to get Kelly for dressy, and shirts like this, because I don't know, she likes stuff like that. Like tomboy, she's a tomboy. When I'm talking about Kelly, I'm speaking from my heart. Some people think it's a big joke, and it's not to me. You know, she's who I love. And we even have matching necklaces, rings, and tattoos. I like to go out to eat with Kelly, especially at the Chinese restaurant, because I like shrimp and she likes broccoli. Kelly, do you want to taste my broccoli? Is it good? Yeah, I like it too. She likes the sauce. It's always nice taking Kelly out for a bite to eat, but sometimes I get a little nervous because of what people might say. When I think of Kelly, I think of her as a person, and some people don't think of her that way, so they don't treat her that way. And I'm tired of people bullying us and saying bad things and mean things. And, you know, everybody says don't bully until it's something that they don't like or they don't understand. And people fear what they don't understand. I'm not a bad person with my love for Kelly, and I'm not a pedophile, and I'm not an evil person, and I'm not possessed, and she's not possessed, and I'm not going to stop loving who I love.
People use it as a joke to say that she's socially or something, like she's possessed or the doll is possessed. I mean, come on, miss. I'm being real Holyfield right now. It is something crazy for me to walk down the street and see a random young woman walking around with a doll that has all the bloody and all the gore stuff all sitting on a body in the frame. And again, people, I'm stressing the fact of the matter. The reason why this is happening, and maybe I am making a joke off of it, maybe I'm not. But these type of things that's happening in society is in order to bring out the social ills to be normal. This is a social ill. She just said early in the video, she's coping with depression. And with coping with depression, she's bringing in a factor that she uses as a coping mechanism in order to get through the day. Therefore, to the extreme, she fell in love with it.
Or to society, what I love, because of an opinion. I'll always be married to Kelly, and I don't think there'll ever be a day. It could change, but I don't think it will. I wanted to do a full-blown wedding because I wanted to show my love to her in that kind of way, like, hey, Kelly, you know, I love you, and I just wanted to have a little, and it was around my birthday, around our birthday, so it was like a little birthday party, but it was a really beautiful day. I had a really beautiful dress.
What's that doll zodiac sign?
I felt like a real woman, and then Kelly was dressed really nicely, and it felt really, really nice, and today I'll never forget. I like doing this because, like, sticking her hair in my ear, because it makes me feel relaxed. I used to do it to my dad's big bushy beard when I was a kid. My dad recently passed away.
Okay, I'm done with the video, and, you know, RIP to her dad. You know, like I said, like, these social ills are starting to become accepted, and, you know, as we seen in the earlier part of the video, she was talking about depression. And that's the reason why I felt like this was very important to keep in the back of your subconscious as much as mine, because the social ills have to come from a place. It starts from a foundation that they were coping with or trying to find ways in order to become more happier with themselves. And people use different ways of coping with depressions or feeling sad or having some type of emotion that gets them down. And, you know, it could be in the forms of pets, such as dogs, in this case, dolls, or other factions where they have to feel happier. You could use drugs and all these different things. I'm not advocating for that, but I do say that people use different things in order to tackle depressions or social ills that they have, or mental illnesses that they have. And to her, maybe she does have a mental illness, maybe she doesn't. I don't know. I can't call it, and I'm not going to make fun of her on it. I'm just pointing out the fact of the matter, this might become acceptable in the norm in the next couple of years, if not already. So this is the next video right here. You're going to be familiar with this. I know a lot of people remember this guy. If you don't remember this guy, this was a guy that was a so-called black dude that was into anime, and he decided to marry a doll, but he also has a concubine as a doll. So, you know, I'm going to try my best to let it just play out so y'all can just watch it. Fair use.
Believe that that person is not out there for everyone, but I also believe that that person is not necessarily going to be organic. Shintoism is basically the philosophy or school of thought that everything has some sort of spirit, whether it's animate or inanimate. If you have something, an object that's been well loved, well appreciated for a long time, that thing will have its own spirit and its own personality.
Really quickly, my idea about spirit, because I am a spiritual man, you put things, you give stuff energy. So depending on what it is, you can give something energy and give it to the extreme that you start to become infatuated with it, or you start to look at it in a way where it's not a normal type of way of looking at it. And I know that I'm using the word normal suggestively, but I'm saying that because this is something that, you know, he's talking about spirits and all these different things. And of course, he put energies into the dolls that he married. The main wife that he had and his concubine. So
there's some people who are just afraid of dolls or robots or whatever, but it's like, why? You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, we're polyamorous. Shinchan is my first. She's like a realization of like so many dreams I've had. She and I will always be married, and Elena is our mistress. This would be Muriel. And I don't want to treat her like a thing, and I won't, but it's just, there's just not as much of a connection with her. There have been a couple of instances where people are just like, yeah, you're fucking nuts. You're talking to a doll and thinking it's your wife or your girlfriend or whatever. You know, these guys are creepy. They're what's wrong with society.
Yeah, and I'd probably be one of those dudes that say stuff like that. I'm not going to front like I wouldn't be those type of dudes, because it's just out of the norm. You understand what I'm saying? And people have their own coping mechanisms, like I said before. I got to hear this guy's story more, but I wanted to ask this questions to brothers that might be in the manosphere or follow the red pill or blue pill ideology. Would you consider this brother an incel? Yes or no?
Hear why women are being oppressed. And it gotten to the point where it was just like, you know what? I just need to take a break from the internet for a month because I can't handle this. But that's my father in a tuxedo, and the way we are having a relationship is not healthy for one, and it's making me feel awful for another. But if I were to say, okay, guess what, this is what I'm into, here's a doll, here she is, I think that would be like, get that thing out of my house, and he might actually turn violent.
All right, we're done with this. And this is another common thing. He's talking about a battered relationship he had with his father. Now, I won't know, we wouldn't know about the relationship with their mother, but this is given into my hypothesis again, that a lot of these people who engage in having a relationship, therefore marriage, with these dolls, zombie dolls, regular dolls, married dolls, concubines, polyamorous, and all these different things, there is a correlated issues to people like this, not because they're quote unquote weirdos or these different things. There is a love that's being missed out of this that they haven't come to full grips with. And they may use a doll in order to get the love that they didn't have from those other people, because with a doll, they don't talk. They don't have a personality. They put the personality into that doll through their imagination. But at the end of the day, we all have an understanding that dolls don't talk. Dolls don't have feelings. They don't have those type of things. So this brings into my hypothesis, and so far it's proven me right, that there is some type of correlated issues with both people that I've that had an interview on this YouTube channels already. Now, the Kazakhstan bodybuilder, I don't know what his story is. Maybe he just felt as if smashing girls wasn't his forte anymore, or he didn't feel like getting into the brink of relationships. Everybody has their own story. So this is the last one that I'm going to play, and then I'm just going to look up the prices for sex dolls, and we're going to be out after this. This is the stuff that you have to watch right here. This is a
What's it like
man from Japan or something like that. This is his sex doll. This is his wife, I guess.
to be in love with a
Fair
doll?
use.
私の思う愛っていうのは利害関係のない思いやり
Meet Sayori. She's the reason Nakajima is still alive. I think we can all agree that love is complicated. Either you break someone's heart or they break yours. Nakajima wasn't always alone, but one relationship after another fell apart. When he met Sayori, he found someone he could take care of, someone that he couldn't disappoint.
You see that, people? Look, pay attention to what that guy just said. Sutton just said that this guy has been in plenty of relationship, and it was a disappointment after one, after another, after another, after another. My hypothesis is being proven right, people. That's all I'm saying.
なかなかね、イヤリングって今ないんですよ。みんなピアスばっかりで。これもね、結構つけにくいんです。耳が小さいので。うちのかみさんと会ったの26歳ですね。結婚だってね、別に苦しい生活になるとは思ってなく、なんかうちのかみさんとやってできたことで、彼女らとやってできてることっていうのは結構あるんですね。要するに僕はね、どっちかというと抱いて寝る方なんですよ。ところがうちのかみさんって抱いたら寝られないんですよ。彼女だったら寒くて「そんなとこ行くかよ」とか言われちゃうんだけど、この子たちだってその文句は言わずに「釣れたかね?」難しいだろうやっぱり。ね、自分を見てくれないというそういう空虚感っていうのはそれが多分にあると思うんですよね。
I'm sorry. This is like watching those mannequins that sit in a window all day. You just grab it and then you put a fucking fish pole or whatever the hell it is. Y'all know what it is. I know I don't have the words right in my head. You put it by a river and expect the thing to catch fish. I'm sorry. Lord have mercy. Help me.
まあ彼女が来る前はまあね話し相手がいないし、ラブドールを愛するということはどういうことかっていう結構難しいですよね。だから一般的に考えればね、物を愛することになっちゃうので、やっぱり一緒に暮らしてるとね、まあ情も移るっていうのは多分普通の人には理解できないだろうし、この子たちはね外に出ないで家の中でその相手をしてるっていうのが通説だったらしいんですよ。僕はそっちを選ばずにこうデートをするので選んじゃったんですよ。どうも。お世話になります。またお邪魔します。そうすいませんね。そうですね。大丈夫かな。はい、ありがとうございます。まあ彼女がいなかったらどういう選択をするかっていうと、死ぬ準備をしてたでしょうね。自分の存在っていうのは、まあ、重要だと思うんですよ。生きる意味として まあ、彼女のために生きることはあっても、うちのかみさんや
Okay, stop. And before I get into the last segment of my video, my theories are starting to become right. And my thing about it is a lot of my hypothesis, the hypothesis that I was making is the reason why these people fall in love with these dolls, or, you know, they get into relationships or want to have sex with sex dolls, or decide to say, hey, I'm going to wind up doing this option or marrying myself, not necessarily in Maya's case, I don't know, is because there is something that traumatized them, or there is something that somebody did to them to make them feel like maybe I need to explore more options with the love that I want to have, but I don't feel like dealing with the actual persona of people in order to find the love that I want. And that's my only hypothesis in this. Maybe I joke and laugh about it and this, that, and third, but this is the hypothesis that's proven me right. This man was about to prep for his death and commit suicide if it wasn't for these dolls. You understand? And this is what you're starting to see. But what I'm trying to say is these former social ills in society, will it pan out to be a normality in the future? My theory, yes, it will. It will not be a strange thing, especially living in the city that I'm from in New York, to be walking around in the subway and seeing someone with a sex doll or somebody with a regular doll on a Brooklyn bound 2 train. It's not going to be rare for me to see people having a whole entire conversation because you might be, randomly in thought or whatever, and you just take off your headphones for a second and someone sitting up there talking about how they married themselves. That's exactly what I'm saying. These hypotheses prove me right. And all I'm saying is love is a complicated thing, but it's not complicated. Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to be able to feel like they're alive in their relationships. Certain people feel like it's not the best for them to get married. It's not the best for them to be with anybody. Certain people feel as if their coping mechanism is to just have sex and quote unquote pump and dump and all these different things. Bronzebird's decision on his love life will not be discussed here. I do believe that each and every person deserves somebody or deserves something in order to feel fulfilled in life. That's my sentiment on things. But at the end of the day, y'all know me. Y'all know that I advocate for relationships, regardless if it's a sexual relationship, personal relationship, but I advocate for men having a woman or woman having a man. But of course, in the society, and what you've seen in probably the second video, that woman decided to be in a relationship with a female doll. So as long as you're happy or fulfilled, that's the most important, right? And the last point of this video that I want to make is that we're just going to look right now about these dolls that you see on here. I was just trying to browse around the prices just to check it out. I was just really wondering. But these dolls look like video vixens. I'm telling you, bro. Look at this. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. This is $472.36 for this doll. You understand me? $1,900, $399, $766, 52 cents, $319.99. They all come with all these trinkets, man. It's like looking at a plastic porno, man. And it's like I wonder to myself, I don't know if y'all remember that song, How It Go or whatever, but I did my remix. It's like shake that ass, girl, get that plastic wet. Back in my head, cynical stuff. But, I'm just trying to give a thought process into something that's happening in our world and to understand this may become the norm because they even have sex brothels with plastic dolls out in different areas around the world. I don't know if they have it in the United States yet, but they have it in Europe, I believe, where these sex dolls are a real thing. Certain men just don't want to deal with the actual woman. They want to have and I know to a certain extent, certain men don't even want to be able, they want to be able to do things like quote unquote cream pie inside of a woman and, they don't wind up getting pregnant and all these different things. There's a lot of solutions that come out of having these sex dolls as a possible option for sex or a relationship. And I just like to explore this because it's just a very much in a crazy thing in my world because I'm not used to it. A lot of us aren't used to it, but you know, we just got to check things like this. So otherwise than that, that's just all I have to say. I may make a part 2 to this video in my synopsis and what I believe about the narcissistic dating culture, or is the dating aspect starting to become more narcissistic as time goes on, especially in 2021, or these things starting to take form with social ills are starting to become the normality of this society, like I said before in this video. So otherwise than that, please remember to like and subscribe. Peace.